And staying in the shade.
I think we're good.
Was De La Rosa coming?
Can this podium come up just a little bit? Or?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Can I ask everybody
So just get a little
scrunch in
closer.
a little, please?
Come in a little closer, folks.
I know it's hot.
And we're live streaming this.
All right, let me know when you're ready to go. Good morning, everyone. I wanna thank you all for braving the heat and for coming to Morningside Park on this beautiful, very, very devastatingly heat morning. I am Council Member Sean Abreu. I'm the representative for Morningside Heights and for Morningside Park, and I am so grateful to be here with all of you here today. One thing is clear. We need to save our parks. Say it with me. Save our parks. Save our parks. Save our parks. Save our parks. At the risk of stating the obvious, scorchers like today are exactly why we need to fund our parks. Our green spaces are safe havens from the heat. In many instances, they are our only reprieve, the only escape from the summer sun. Our planet is burning up, with each summer blistering more than the last, and yet we know that this extreme heat is not experienced equally. Surface temperatures in West Harlem can register 20 degrees hotter than neighborhoods with more trees and green spaces. But it isn't random that black and brown neighborhoods like West Harlem, with fewer trees, fewer parks, and older housing that is harder to cool, are bearing the brunt of these debilitating weather. It is because we have to constantly beg for investments in what should be a basic public good. There is simply no excuse that we invest a smaller proportion of our budget towards parks than many large cities in the nation. Let me be clear. This is not the Parks Department of Pawnee, Indiana. There is simply no excuse that we can't fund the Parks Department in the biggest city in the United States and one of the richest cities in the entire world. Quite literally, our parks pump life in our city. The trees, the flowers, and plants that our park workers maintain not only purify our air and beautify our neighborhoods, they make our communities home. They make our city what it is. Answer me this. Do you want trash spewing across your parks?
No!
Do you want less safe spaces for our kids to play at?
No!
Do you want to cut nearly 700 green jobs?
No!
Make no mistake. Budget cuts will make our parks dirtier. They will make them less safe. They will slash the jobs that will go towards building a greener and more resilient city. It's unconscionable. Mayor Adams, this is a message for you. Listen to New Yorkers and reverse these cuts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I now have the honor of introducing Gail Brewer, who represents Central Park and is a member of the budget negotiating team and represents the Upper West Side. My amazing colleague, Gail Brewer.
Thank you very much, Sean. And I just want to mention Suki Ports for Brad and Elizabeth and Curtis and I to know, because she was here. She's doing fine. She's almost 90 now, something like that. And it's thanks to her, because she stood in front of the bulldozer when Columbia University was going to destroy Morningside Park. So I just want to say, as we're here today, we want to think of Suki Port. So I want to certainly, like everyone else, the parks, the playgrounds, and the green spaces are pivotal to the health and safety of all New Yorkers. But the mayor's proposed budget maintains tens of thousands of dollars of cuts to parks. New York City invests a smaller portion of its budget toward parks than many other large cities in the nation. And to the credit of the Speaker and the Council, we're fighting to restore the mayor's cuts to parks and threaten staff who maintain their cleanliness and quality And by the way, Mr. Mayor, you promised 1%. One example is the 100 hotspots that are needed for the parks. The council is calling for 10 million restoration and baselining of second shift positions to facilitate the cleaning of hotspots in our parks. These workers could keep more than 100 hotspots across 61 parks in New York City clean and safe, and parks, as you heard earlier, will be dirtier and less safe without them. And obviously we need a lot of capital money too. Just to give you an example, I put money into 2 parks to be ADA accessible, and guess what? The bathrooms are not enough money. One bathroom costs $13 million, and the other one costs $2.3 million. But Mr. Mayor, we need bathrooms in the parks. 300,000 acres of parks serve as backyards to more than 8 million city residents. Parks support our mental and physical health and build community. Access to recreation space in parks reduces annual health care costs in New York City by $1.14 billion. God knows it's hot. Parks and trees serve as a critical role in resilience. Parks can reduce peak ambient temperatures by as much as 10 degrees. And shade provided by the urban tree canopy, bills that we have passed to do that, can reduce peak temperatures by 20 to 45 degrees. That's a lot.
We need it.
Our parks divert 4.5 billion gallons of storm water from DEP's sewer system, saving $9 million annually in avoided water treatment costs. Our parks attract over 17 billion in tourism spending and 600 million in the recreation industry each year. 42, is that right? 42 million go to Central Park every year, maybe 46 million. It's a lot of people. New York City has seen a $15 billion increase in property value and subsequent 101 million in annual property tax revenues for homes within 500 feet of a park. Mr. Mayor, fund the parks 1%. Thank you.
Adam Ganzer, Executive Director for New Yorkers for Parks.
My name is Adam Ganzer. I'm Executive Director of New Yorkers for Parks. I want to say a couple of things. First, we, along with the League of Conservation Voters and DC 37, created the Playfair Coalition. Now more than 400 organizations across the city, all pushing for 1% for parks. What we know is this: as we sit in the shade on this brutally hot day, the 30,000 acres of parkland and millions of trees, when funded, can be the city's single greatest impactful tool against climate change and warming. We know this: when funded, our city's beaches, pools, sprinklers, and recreation centers can be New Yorkers' greatest refuge during hot days like today. And we know our over 1,700 parks, when funded, can be safe and clean places for our communities. And we also know that is not the case. Our parks have been underfunded for decades, and what's worse, our parks are facing a $55 million cut this year. I offer this: we can bash the mayor, but this is an opportunity. The council is standing strong on this issue. The mayor has previously committed to 1% for parks. Take this opportunity, invest in every single New Yorker, invest in our parks.
Before I introduce my next speaker, I would like to thank the Friends of Morningside Park for bringing out its coalition. Our Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine.
Okay. I like the Bronx too. Don't get me in trouble with Vanessa. Give it up for Councilmember Sean Abreu. Great to be standing here with Councilmembers De La Rosa and Brewer. Give it up for them too. I've been to like 25 parks rallies down at City Hall. I am so glad that we came uptown next to this glorious Morningside Park. This shows what a park can be for this city. This gorgeous park with so much history that brings together Harlem, Morningside Heights. There's so much good energy here, a community coming together to do something healthy. But this park needs a lot of care and maintenance. Shout out to Friends of Morningside for fighting for that. And Brad Taylor. Shout out to Councilmember Abreu, who's brought how many millions into this park?
18.
I got like 5 when I was in the council. I was very proud of myself. completely surpassed me. We have steadily been hearing the same thing from City Hall about parks now for years. They got to learn to do more with less. Back in the 70s, we used to allocate 1.5% of the city budget to parks.
Wow.
And yes, you can applaud for that because that was pretty good. Wait, it might not sound like a lot, but wait till you hear where we're at today. We've had this cycle where every time we had fiscal challenges, we would cut that. But then we wouldn't restore it during good times. There's this idea that parks are a luxury item. Nothing could be further from the truth. Parks are essential infrastructure for New York City. They are public health infrastructure, they are environmental infrastructure, they are economic development infrastructure, they are public safety infrastructure. But look at the pattern. Again and again, the cuts. We have now eroded the parks budget now to be 0.5% of the total budget. At a certain point, you're not able to do more with less. You're gonna do less with less. And I love our brilliant parks workers. They are so amazing. Can you give it up for our parks workers? Local 1505, our CPWs. I saw a couple of our wonderful PEP officers here on patrol. And we love them. But it's becoming impossible for them to keep up with the maintenance and the gardening and the patrol needs because the head count is declining year after year. What we're facing now in these budget cuts is the loss of potentially 600 or 700 positions. And every New Yorker will feel that. You'll see it in lack of parks maintenance, in drainage which is not fixed, in water fountains which don't work, in basketball hoops which are broken, in trash containers that are not picked up. You will feel it in the parks if we do not restore this money. We are down to the bone at this time. And I am sorry that this is not a rally about adding $200 million to the parks, although we are fighting for that. I am sorry that the mayor has forced us to fight against these cuts, but we are gonna fight. There is no way we can tolerate $55 million taken out of the parks budget. There's no way.
No.
And I am so grateful to this coalition. I am grateful to these 3 leaders in the city council. I know you guys are down there fighting tooth and nail. This has to be a top priority. We cannot have a budget which cuts park $55 million. So I am with you guys in this. Every hour of every day down the home stretch until we get a budget, we have to make noise for parks. You guys ready to fight for parks?
Yeah! Absolutely.
You ready to fight against these cuts?
Yeah!
You ready to fight for our PEP officers?
Yeah!
Our gardeners?
Yeah!
Our maintenance workers?
Yeah!
You're gonna continue to say we gotta get to 1% for parks?
Yeah!
All right, let's do this, New York City. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Next we have Julie Ty, President of New York League of Conservation.
Voters.
Voters, sorry. The league.
What do we want?
1%. All right.
What do we want?
1%.
That's right. We are so grateful to be here today with all of these leaders. Thank you to Councilmember De La Rosa and Brewer and Abreu, and to, of course, Borough President Mark Levine, longtime champion for parks. Parks, and we've already heard this before, parks are our lungs of this city.
Yeah.
Parks are where we go to get cool in a day like today. Many New Yorkers don't have air conditioning. Parks help us cool our neighborhoods. In particular, we need to get more parks in communities of color and low-income communities because they don't have enough trees, they don't have enough parks. Everyone in this city deserves access to walking to a park in close distance to their neighborhood, right? And we can't do it when we keep cutting the budget. Parks are 14% of the land here in New York City. And as Mark Levine said, they are 0.5% of the budget. We must do more. We have to stop cutting parks every time there's a fiscal crisis, because this is, as you said, it's essential infrastructure. They're not a luxury. They're not something we can just do without. This is what makes community. Places like parks. We need to do this to fight climate change, to help us absorb carbon dioxide, to help us have cooler communities, to help us turn down that temperature, as you said, by almost 10 degrees. That's a big difference on a day like today. And we can't keep doing that if we keep cutting funding for parks. So what do we want?
1%.
1%.
1%. Now, my sister from Uptown, Councilmember Carmen De La Rose.
So I rushed over here from a graduation, so I didn't get dressed up for all of y'all. But here I am. Let me just say this. I represent Northern Manhattan, District 10. Woo! I'm gonna shout out some of my parks. Fort Tryon Park. Highbridge Park. Inwood Hill Park. Riverside Park. I got that one from Sean. It was a gift in redistricting. Highbridge. I said Highbridge. Highbridge. And so let me say that outside of Central Park, my district has the biggest, largest green area in Manhattan. I represent an environmental justice community. My community was built over the Cross Bronx Expressway at the foot of the George Washington Bridge. It's not a coincidence that when we overlay the COVID death map and my district, we see where the deaths come from. It is consistently poor communities of color that are cut and cut to the bone. Let me say something about this council. I gotta brag about this council under our speaker, Adrian Adams. Our economists, under our great speaker, said, we have more money in the budget than the mayor is saying we have. And we were right. Under the speaker's leadership, we've said, we need to prioritize K-12 education and early childhood education, and the speaker was right. And she has said consistently that we need to prioritize our open green spaces, and our speaker was right. So, not to toot our own horns, but I'm gonna toot my colleagues' horns here. We have been consistently right about bringing the voices of our constituents to City Hall. And when I walk around my neighborhood, I know that I need $20 million to restore Amelia Gorman Park. I know that my nature center has been closed since Hurricane Sandy in 2012. And I know that the Parks Department and their workers have been doing everything they can to make sure that our parks continue to be safe. I'm gonna say something about the mayor. This mayor is dancing in a budget dance all by his damn self. All by himself. Because we refuse to dance with a mayor that doesn't understand that 1% for parks is the bare minimum. Now, Mark and Oswald and Sean and Gail and myself were elected and re-elected for some of them at the height of a global pandemic. And what did this pandemic teach us? That we can't put the city back together by keeping up with the status quo. That we need to rebuild our city in a way where it is different, where we are doing away with the systematic cuts in our city agencies. And so we were sent to City Hall with a mandate. And that mandate doesn't include cutting parks some more. That's right. And so we are standing here firmly, days away from birthing this budget, to say to the mayor, come dance with us. Come dance for the people of New York City. You believe in safety? You believe in New Yorkers? Well, don't cut our parks, because our parks are the front lines. When our community needs fresh air, when our community wants shade from this heat, we flock to our parks. And so come visit our parks and see what's happening in our parks. Let me tell you something. The Friends of groups have kept our parks alive. Way longer than they would have been. If not for the sweat, blood, and tears of New Yorkers. But what New Yorkers want, and the mandate that New Yorkers have given us, is for us to have fully funded agencies that can carry out the mandates of taking care of every New Yorker.
That's right.
New Yorkers of color, poor New Yorkers that live all across this city and all across this borough. So we're standing here asking for 1% when we should be asking for 2%, but we're gonna settle for 1%. And we are making sure that in this budget, we are not continuing to cut our parks.
Yeah.
Restore the budget, restore the parks, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Great job, Carmen. I now have the honor of introducing my brother from the Bronx, Council Member Oswald Feliz.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Council Member Oswald Feliz. I want to thank you all, my colleagues in the council, the borough president, and all of you for joining us, standing united and saying no to proposed budget cuts to our parks. Our parks help create and maintain healthy and safe communities. This is where families, after a long week, this is where they come to relax, to picnic, to catch up with new friends. This is also where our children come to play sports that they already know or even learn new sports. This is where families even come to celebrate birthday parties, to celebrate and create memories that last a lifetime. And it is crucial that we keep our parks inviting, something that we can only do by keeping them clean and well funded. Now, New York City is not like a suburb where every resident has access to green spaces right behind their home. For most New Yorkers, and especially in the Bronx, our parks are some of the only green spaces that these residents can enjoy.
That's right.
The only green spaces that they can enjoy. How will they feel comfortable enjoying them when we don't have staff to clean them up? When the parks aren't clean, what do we have? A day later, we have rodents and so much more. Before you know it, we would no longer have a park. So I'm proud to join all my colleagues and all of us in the City Council and everybody in the City of New York. We're gonna be right here fighting every single day until we restore every single penny proposed to be cut to our parks. Yes. So I wanna thank you all, thank you. Really honor again to have made it all the way from the Bronx to join all of you.
Save our parks! Save our parks! Save our parks!
Save our parks! Save our parks!
Brad Taylor from the Friends of Morningside Park. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you all for coming out. I mean, I see so many familiar faces here. If it wasn't for this dire budget situation, I would say this is an amazing party. But it is a dire situation. You know, I've been testifying in front of the City Council for years on this issue. And the last time I testified, I said, I'm tired of this. We need 1% now. And here we are 2 years after that, and we still don't have it. And you know, we talk about the cleanliness of the parks that will suffer. Yes, they will suffer. The status of the bathrooms will suffer, but also just the basic maintenance that has been neglected for decades.
Yeah.
This is a landmark park.
Yep.
If you look out over here, you'll see things growing out of this wall, undermining the wall, and basically undermining this historic structure. We can't have this. We need to reinvest in our parks. You know, some parks have conservancies, we don't, and so many parks don't. We can't afford to do this. We're a volunteer organization. We've been here for 43 years.
Wow.
I haven't been here that long. But we put in last year over 3,000 volunteer hours into this park. I mean, some of our volunteers are here today. It's just amazing. But we cannot plug a gap that is well beyond our means. Exactly. That has to be done by the city. So yes, I call on Mayor Adams, do the dance, get us 1% for parks.
I have the honor of introducing Victor Edwards, the Chair of Community Board 9.
All right.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
In a place they often call the concrete jungle, we need parks.
Yeah.
We need 2%.
Yeah.
I have the pleasure of living across the street from Riverside Park. When I come home off the train or wherever in the city, I look out my window, I see the park. When I get on my bike, I go through the park. and it's just a lifeline. Seniors, young people are down in the park enjoying themselves. A day like today, they'll be down there with umbrellas, chairs, tables, picnicking. Everyone can't drive out to the Hamptons. Some of us have to stay in the city, and the parks are our rest place. So, same thing that's been said, we need our parks, we need them now, 2%. 2%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Emily from MAC.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Walker. I'm the Senior Manager of External Affairs at the Natural Areas Conservancy. We're a citywide organization that cares for the 20,000 acres of natural areas in our park system. They are the lungs of our city. They help absorb stormwater. These spaces are critical city infrastructure and we are not funding them. The NAC strongly supports our partners in the Play Fair Coalition in asking for 1% of the budget to be allocated for parks. That's a minimum. We want to see funding for trails, which will open up access to 10,000 acres of open space for New Yorkers. The mayor promised us $2.4 million last Earth Day, and then he took it away in November. We think that's a shame. We also have 51 forest management staff who take care of our trees in our urban forests. They need care. They do not care for themselves in an urban environment. And if we lose these staff, we lose 80% of our natural areas staff. This is a total shame. So we really would like to see the budget increased. Thank you so much to all of our elected officials who are here today supporting this call. And thank you for all of you for turning out in 90-degree heat to support our parks. Thank you.
I would like, before we conclude, I would like to recognize that we have a member of the Manhattan SWAB here. We have Katie. We also have Curtis Arlick, our local district leader that is present with here today. And perhaps most importantly, I want to thank the park workers here on the side. I'd also like to recognize Shatik Mitchell from Central Park. All right. Let's end with a rally, folks. Save our parks! Save our parks! Save our parks! Save our parks! Thank you, everybody. Let's bring it.